Hi, today we're going to do a relationship that's falling apart, how you can help it, how you can try and save it, and what strategies you can actually use in this relationship. If you still love that person, it's worth fighting for that person. That's what I believe. The most important thing you can do while you do the whole process is to be loving. It's no good screaming, yelling, blaming, shaming. These will not work. You have to stay in a place of love, and you need to keep coming from love. Even when they're really, really annoying you and really pressing all your buttons, you need to keep coming from a place of love, because that's where you started, isn't it? You met each other, you fell in love, it was all so wonderful, and now you're in this terrible mess. The most important thing you can do then is to be unconditionally loving of them. If you have been conditionally loving, you'll know it, because conditional love is when you punish them, when you withdraw the love. You give them the cold shoulder, the silent treatment. That's conditional love. Unconditional love is different. You love them, they annoy you, you say, you annoy me. You get mad and you say, I just need some space from you, I still love you, but I just need to process this. But you don't shut off the love. And the most important thing you have to learn is how you are doing it. Because most people actually come from conditional love, and they will punish other people, and they don't do what they want. And maybe you do that, and maybe it's time for you to change that and stop punishing. Come from unconditional love. You just stand there, you love them, you tell them how you feel, you listen to what they say. And you tend not to want to control them. Conditional love is very controlling. You want them to do what you want. You're having a power battle with them. And that's very often what's happening with you right now. You're in a power struggle with them. So you need to put your weapons down and do it in a different way. If you come from love and you sit down and say, I really love you, and start it with that. I really love you and I want us to be together. Let's see if we can find a way to compromise here, to work out how you can get what you need and I can sort of get what I need, and we can find somewhere in the middle, and we can both be actually happy with that. That's a really good thing to do. The love thing is very important, because that's the foundation of your relationship. And if one person starts not loving as much as the other, that's going to make problems in the relationship. You need to sit down and listen to one another. You need to stop interrupting, stop saying it's not like that. You need to give almost like a monologue. I say how I'm feeling about things through my filter, then you say how you're feeling about things. We need to listen. A lot of us are not listening to the other person. We're telling them, yes, but this, but that, we're interrupting. That's not listening. Listening is not just hearing it, but listening to it. If your partner says, I just don't feel we're spending enough time together, do not start defending yourself. Oh, well, we went out and I'm busy and I'm working and I'm doing... No. You say, I hear what you're saying. How can I help to make that I spend more time? What do you want? What do you need? And the same with you. You say to them, I just don't feel like you're very attracted to me anymore. You're not showing me a lot of hugs and kisses, etc., etc. And the other person, instead of going all defensive, oh, well, I've been tired and I'm not well, and, that's all you think about. You don't want that conversation. You want the conversation to go this way. Okay, you don't feel you feel more physical in the relationship. Let's see how I can help and fix that up. And then work about how you can fix it. Often we're too focused on having our point of view and saying our bit, and sometimes blaming. We're not focused enough on listening to the other person. I want you to do that, to actually listen to them. Then once you've listened to the person and they've told you this is what they need, this is where the problem is, this is what I'm struggling with, then you need to find a way together to see if you can fix this. But you can't just use the words. You can't go, yeah, I'll do it. You actually have to now do it, which is part 3, which is doing it. If they say we're not spending enough time together, you're doing too much with work, then you can't go, yeah, I know, you're right, and look like you make a compromise and not change. Then you don't change. So the first thing you do is, after you've found out what the missing part is you say, I think it's important what you've told me. I think if we want to make this work, I need to make time for our relationship. How about we Friday night's date night? Or how about every Saturday night we're together? How about I finish and switch my phone off between 7:30 and 8:30? and we just have time together, we go for a walk. You have to then do it. And that's what a lot of people won't do, and that's why a lot of the relationships actually break down, because people promised they'd do it. They heard you and they promised, and then they didn't do it, or it just sort of goes into, I know, that world where it's not being done. As a partner, you also need to tell your partner, hey, we're falling away a bit on the time thing, and they go, yes, you're right. And you have to be proactive too. If you want to spend more time with your partner and they're not doing it, you can't just put it all on them. Once you've had your little talk about it, then you also need to try and help them to make that better. And you can do that by saying, how about on Friday night we go to that nice Italian restaurant? Do you want to do that? You need to help it as well, because in some ways we have to retrain. People don't really mean to be like this quite a lot of the time. They just kind of get absorbed in other worlds, and in that way they need help from us to do it a better way. So the active thing is the most important thing if you're going to try and save it. You can't just be batting the ball backwards and forwards. You actually have to stop, put the ball down, listen to each other, and then work out how you're going to fix it and get kind of practical. I would get very, very practical. If the person has said to you, you're not very lovey to me anymore, and you go, yeah, I can see what you're saying, I'll try and improve it, then you go in the kitchen and give them a hug. You kiss them before they leave work. You snuggle up to them on the couch. You've got to be proactive. You've got to fix it now. You can't just go, yeah, I'll do it, and not do it. Because that way you're not actually saving your relationship. Relationships are always changing. Into them, we land up with families sometimes of our own, then we're dealing with their families. We can have work problems, we can have money problems, we can have health problems. And these can all impact on the core relationship. It's almost like you've got a bed and you just keep throwing things on top of it. More and more blankets, and then underneath the bed kind of disappears. Your relationship is holding most of these things up, though. It's very important. It's a foundation if you've got a family, or even if you want personal happiness and you want to be with this person. Therefore, it's really important to spend the time doing it. Say to you, start with the 3 things. The first, love. The next one being listen. And then do it. Actually do it. You have to have the action thing that you do it. And then you come back to each other and go and asking, am I giving you enough time now? Do you need more? Am I doing that? Am I being more huggy to you? Are you happy with that? Am I giving you more personal space if you've asked for that? Am I doing that? People know where the things aren't working, actually. The other person might deny they know, but they know too. And it's sort of like putting it on the table. And it's not a judgment or criticism. It might appear like that, but it's just something that you need in the relationship. And just remember, you're 2 different people. You're going to have different needs. What Bill needs will be different to what Alice needs or Bob needs. You have different needs. And our job as a partner is to fill our partner's need. That's what we in the relationship for. I've done some podcasts on the 4 relationships. So you have the one relationship with yourself, you do your own stuff. They have their own relationship with themselves, they do their own stuff. And then in the double relationship, I meet the needs of my partner and they meet my needs in the relationship. There is a problem when the relationship one is like, I meet your needs, but in the relationship you have with me, you meet your needs. I give you what you want, but in the relationship with me, you don't give me what I want. You do what you want. Have a look at that and you might find that's a fundamental flaw in your relationships. You might both be doing that in the relationship with one another you're both selfish and you want your own way all the time. Or you have one person who's selfish and the other person who's not as selfish. Look at your relationship. If you want to say that this is where you can start, you don't have to go to counsellors anywhere. If you don't want to go to counselling, start at home. Get them to write down what the missing bits are and what they need. You get them write down what you need in a non-critical way, and then you sit down and you talk about it and you start working on them and see if you can get it back. Because if you do love each other, it is such a shame to lose it. Once we lose it and it gets further and further apart, it actually gets harder and harder because the bad stuff is more there, and the yelling, the screaming, the arguing, and the not talking, and you drift apart because you just sort of give up. So don't give up yet. see if you can save it. So I'm sending you lots of love and lots of light, and I hope that you can get something from this podcast and start working together to fix it, because relationships keep changing, and so you've got to keep working on them. They're like a garden. You can't just water it at the beginning and then never water it again. It'll just die. You've got to keep fostering it, and that's why long-term happy relationships work, because they keep getting to the bump and then they sit down and talk about it and try and work a way around it and compromise and make each other happy, because that's what you're there to do, to make each other happy. So good luck, and I'm wishing you good light and lots of love this week.